Chapter 326. 317, Tian Dao. The taste of a saint is awesome. Many people may not know that human flesh in this world is divided into soft and hard. Some people are born with soft meat and are made of water. Some people are born with hard meat and are made of mud. The Holy Master let Lu Chaoga understand what it means to be weak and boneless. Even in his previous life, he had never had such an experience. As a super-rich second generation, he also exercised at the height of the 56th floor, with a feeling of conquering the earth. But in fact, double cultivation with heaven and man in one realm is truly unique. Especially after the fusion of the soul and the spiritual level has reached the extreme, this wave of operations that go with the flow will be carried out. After showing off a wave of operations, Lu Chaoga felt a little tired. It's like a gift from the saint teacher in the soul. Then, in terms of the body, at level 97, he is nourishing the saint teacher. The saint master can clearly feel the growth of her strength and cultivation. And it may not take a few days for her to break through the bottleneck of the great perfection of the 8th realm. Well, in a few days, definitely. But today, it's not enough. As for Lu Chaoga, he is also very clear in his heart that now he is divine. Mind 9. After a few days, you may also be able to enter divine sense 10. Enlightenment is not a day's work. But now the first wave of beast tide has not been completely resolved. Whether it is Lu Chaoga or saint teacher, there are more important things to do. The Holy Master is indeed important, but Tian Xian is even more important. What's more, at this time, the two were speechless and fell into a brief embarrassment. In the end, it was Lu Chaoga's suggestion, why don't we deal with the high-level alien beasts in Beizhou first? In addition, he had to enter a wave of chaos eyes in Beizhou to understand the situation. 3 days later, Lu Chaoga, who was sitting cross-legged in front of chaos, opened his eyes. The Holy Master was protecting him, only to see Lu Chaoga startled, then gasping for breath. He experienced another death. There is only one resurrection coin left, Lu Chaoga said in his heart. But this trip gave him a lot. In addition to killing a large number of alien beasts and beheading 4 9th order alien beasts, he has already figured out the situation in the eye of chaos. It was a world that was about to collapse. The bottom line was that the alien beasts took the path of devouring the world. To be precise, the alien beast itself is the catastrophe of one world after another. Lu Chaoga wasn't even sure, was the alien world he saw now really the alien world? Perhaps not ever. What surprised Lu Chaoga most was that after Beizhou entered the Eye of Chaos, he vaguely sensed something. Someone has been affected by my sword luck buff. There are sword cultivators besides me in the alien beast world. Master. Sword Master. Lu Chaoga thought of him at once. It's just that the middle-aged Confucian scholar and Taoist body have dissipated into the world, and he doesn't know what the other party will be like in the alien beast world. Presumably, at least there is something behind. Master knows that I will come. Lu Chaoga smiled bitterly, feeling a little uncomfortable in his heart. The person who is always upright and peaceful, treats others politely, like a spring breeze, has left a unique tenderness behind when the Taoist body dissipates. Lu Chaoga opened his character panel and checked his remaining experience points. Enough for me to rise to level 99. After he raised the character level, the power of sword and water was strengthened again. At this time, he already understood that the 9th realm is the power to control the laws of heaven and earth, and once he enters the 9th realm, which is the so-called 100th level, that is the real fit of the body. Or is to integrate a part of the heavenly way into one's own body. This is also the biggest reason why Qingdi is outrageously strong. If the level of Qingdi's phantom is not level 1 to 99, but level 1 to 100, then this last phantom, before I enter level 100, is definitely not his opponent. This makes Lu Chaosong quickly realized this. But he also knew very well that Emperor Qing was dead. Now that he is dead, it is impossible for his backhand to produce a level 100 phantom. How can a person who is dead be stronger than before he was alive? The Holy Master looked at Lu Chaoga and said, I'm going back to the mountain to retreat tonight, so you don't have to protect the Dharma for me. Are you going to break through the 9 realms? Lu Chaoga asked. The saint nodded. Although she is usually generous, she still has a reserved and shyness at this moment. She intended to pave the way for Lu Chaoga and help him enter the 9 realms. Who would have thought that now, instead, he has broadened his path? Thinking of this woman who had the demeanor of a young woman, but who was previously unmanned, showed a little coquettishness in her eyes. Fortunately, Jiang Xinyan is now in Qingzhou, otherwise, the holy teacher would not dare to return to the sect for the time being. Although she was a senior sister, what happened in the end was completely different from what she said at the beginning. Soul and body, after all, are 2 different things. Lu Chaoga nodded, but didn't say much. There are Hengyin and a group of elders in Chuanqiao Mountain, and Pei Qianqian, who has the power of the Qing Emperor, has also returned to the sect, and it is enough to protect the holy teacher. After a few days of dual cultivation of the soul, he only needs to digest the rest of the charm, and then he can enter spiritual sense 10. And he still needs to continue to accumulate experience, and then try to reach level 100 to accommodate the power of heaven. Lu Chaoga has returned to the sect. The first wave of the beast tide has ended, and now there is only one wave left. The practitioners in the profound sky realm have a short rest time. He also brought back a large amount of soul jade and altar beads this time. Luo Bing and Haiding are blessed again. When everyone saw the sect master returning to the sect, they immediately greeted him. Talking about it, he began to share his recent experiences. If you have any questions, you can ask me now. Lu Chaoga told everyone. Hei Ting can't speak, and he actually has no problem. He doesn't like to think, he only knows to listen to Lu Chaoga's words, and act. As for Lu Dongli and others, the question that they are most concerned about is what the Eye of Chaos is. Lu Chaoga nodded slightly, considered it for a while, and said, I think I should talk about this issue in front of all Momin disciples. Players are microphones, and they will soon be able to spread the news to the entire profound sky realm. At Momin Weifeng, the players looked at the head of the black robe with excited expressions. Lu Chaoga suddenly had the feeling that the principal was giving a speech at the beginning of the school year. He simply told the players about his experience during this period of time. Of course, some things that could not be told were avoided directly. Regarding the question of the Eye of Chaos, he actually already wanted to understand. The so-called Eye of Chaos is actually a passage between the 2 worlds. Or, it is the invasion of the heavenly way from another world. The Eye of Chaos is the outside world's way of heaven. It is more appropriate to call it an extraterritorial demon. These words made the players stunned for a while, and then they began to express their own opinions. Yu reading www.sonicmtl.com. Sand sculpture players dare to say anything. Then what about our heavenly law? The heavenly law of others has invaded. What are our heavenly laws doing? Yes. Is there any more heavenly law? Lu Chaoga listened to these words, the corners of his mouth rose, and he smiled slightly. You said, is there any reason for heaven? Lu Chaoga looked down at the crowd of players below. He raised his head, glanced at the gray sky, then opened the character panel. And clicked, Upgrade. Level 100, the Taoist. It hasn't been in 10,000 years, but it is now. He said calmly. One more chapter. Chapter 327. 318, Entry. P.S. The last chapter, that is, chapter 317 was blocked. Hurt, get used to it. That's it. Is there any reason in this world? It hasn't been there for thousands of years, but it is now. This question and answer is shocking. After raising the character level to 100, Lu Chaoga can feel the drastic change in his strength. His various attributes are directly doubled, the effect of sword luck is also increased by 30%, and the area that can be covered is also doubled. In addition, he clearly felt that the power of sword and water had undergone a qualitative change. If it was said that the words follow the law before, and the water of heaven and earth acted according to his will, then this is the power now, which is equivalent to the power in his body. The former is to borrow, the latter is completely their own. Is this what it feels like to be in the right place? Lu Chaoga murmured to himself, and then the whole person gradually floated in the air in front of everyone's eyes. He raised his hand and waved lightly, and the drizzle would fall. He had a feeling when the raindrops fell. That is, as long as he has a thought, the power of water and sword luck can be merged. They are raindrops and rain swords. Heaven and earth are not benevolent and treat all things as cud dogs. He suddenly remembered this sentence. This sentence is often used incorrectly. In fact, the original meaning is that there is no so-called benevolence in heaven and earth. It has no benevolence or compassion. In the eyes of heaven and earth, everything is the same. Naturally, there is no such thing as heaven. Unless heaven collapses, can be a person and become a coherent. Then, there is also the so-called heavenly law. Humans absorb a part of the Tao of heaven, and naturally there is the Tao of heaven. The next thing to do is to speak the truth. Lu Chaoga waved his hand, and not too late, appeared in his hand. As soon as he moved, he came to the endless sea of Qingzhou. The Eye of Chaos appeared more than 10,000 years ago and chose the area of the endless sea. In fact, it is also using this power to cover itself. But at the same time, the endless sea is gradually eroding it. That's its advantage to begin with, but what about once someone can control the endless sea? Everything becomes different. The dark golden color surged like a tide, gradually spreading all over Lu Chaoga's eyes. He overlooks the endless sea, the Eye of Chaos. Immediately afterwards, he lost a detection. After getting the feedback, Lu Chaoga frowned slightly. No wonder Emperor Qing couldn't completely destroy the Eye of Chaos. Lu Chaoga understood. The so-called Eye of Chaos can actually be understood as a cooperator, but Lu Chaoga is a human being and a practitioner, and it is another form of existence. If you want to kill it, you must completely destroy the power it relies on. All its power comes from alien beasts. In other words, the Eye of Chaos must collapse completely until the alien beasts die. From a certain point of view, this is nothing short of a fantasy. But Lu Chaoga smiled crookedly, without the slightest worry. He thinks this is only a short-term impossibility, but not completely impossible. In fact, from a quantitative point of view, the player group may not be less than the alien beast group. It's just that the alien beast is far more powerful than the current players. Then this is easy to handle. Lu Chaoga suddenly understood what his job was. He raised the "not too late" in his hand, and suddenly swung a sword towards the endless sea. Tianxian, start the sword. Lu Chaoga ran the sword in his body, and then fused it with sword domain. Human Immortal. Although it is said that the power of one world cannot be stolen, the power that can be stolen by the current, human immortal, especially the power related to swords, is already very terrifying. From this Qingzhou, there was a burst of sword cries. The sword Qi carried the sea water of the endless sea, and instantly hit the Eye of Chaos. The next moment, the Eye of Chaos was scattered. It turned from a huge channel into dozens of small channels. It can't be destroyed, but it can be scattered. This was Lu Chaoge's plan. He entered the Eye of Chaos 4 times, each time in a different place. He found that the 4 positions were scattered, like space. Although there is a connection, it seems to be one, but it cannot really converge. Now, he smashed the Eye of Chaos in Qingzhou with one sword. If it was as he expected, then the world inside began to split into large and small spaces. Lu Chaoge swung his sword again and kept waving it. The Eye of Chaos was divided under each of his swords, and then scattered all over the endless sea. I want to create a copy. This was Lu Chaoge's idea. Every shard of the Eye of Chaos is just a dungeon to the player. And for cultivators in the profound sky realm, wouldn't that be like a place for trials? The most important thing is to suppress the power of chaos. Otherwise, the power of chaos, which is comparable to the power of the law of heaven and earth, is too high, and it is simply not something that players and ordinary practitioners at this stage can fight against. But fortunately, power of water can do this perfectly. Lu Chaoge smiled slightly. If his idea was feasible, then there would be no so-called second or third wave of beast tides. Instead, one after another, dungeon appeared. He will personally create a completely different game world, a completely different Tianqian realm. Alien beast realm. Lu Chaoge, who had already entered and exited 4 times, entered again. It's just that this time, after he entered the alien beast world again, the scene in front of him was completely different. It is no longer 4 spaces, but cut into countless small spaces by him. At this moment, the space where he is standing is the largest one after being cut in all spaces. In other words, it is the strongest copy split by him. Here, there are many 9th-order exotic beasts, and Li Suifeng. He clearly felt that there was a force resisting his power of heaven in this space. Come out. Lu Chaoge held, not too late, and got it lightly. A figure wearing a cyan robe appeared, and Li Suifeng stared at Lu Chaoge with chaotic eyes, and said, "How did you do it? Is it important?" Lu Chaoge took out the Sword of Life from the scabbard. You reading www.sonicmtl.com. This time, he did not enter the spirit, but the real body. He is already a Taoist, and he can already resist the power of heaven in this world with his true body. And when he pulled out, not too late, a wisp of breeze blew past. Master Jianzuan. Lu Chaoge suddenly smiled. He made a sword salute, and then said, "Please." The next moment, the wind swirled around, not too late. This made Lu Chaoge smile even more. With a crooked smile, he looked at Li Suifeng, his color getting darker. He only said one sentence. "I will send you to see your father." End. Chapter 328. New book. This star wants to retire has been released. As the title, a new book is released, the theme is the good entertainment, and the entertainment that has not been written for a long time. Genius. 1 second. Remember the address of this site.